Broncos at Texans. Texans are a 1.5 favorite. Nice close spread here. Kind of is indicating that Vegas is favoring the Broncos just slightly, which feels about right. The over-under on this game, 39.5. Get ready for a rock fight. And we're going to start when the Broncos have the ball against this feisty Texas defense, because this is our Haas fight of the week. Broncos offense got a burly offensive line. They have allowed the fewest amount of sacks this year. Didn't allow a lot of sacks last year. That's partially some of Bo Nix's play, but also just a really good protection scheme with a really good offensive line. They can run the ball fairly well, I will say. Going against a Texas defense that's just about top 3 in every single metric that you look at in success rate, EPA. I think they're second or third in DVOA. They get after the passer. They are feisty. They turn run plays into a feeding frenzy. A very, very fun defense to watch. But this Haas fight, Chuck, what's grabbing your attention?
Oh, man, I think the over under being 39, I was like, damn, not high, huh? Okay. So sounds like a lot of more points.
I would have probably maybe 35 and a half, 34 and a half.
Yeah. We'll see where that goes. But I think if the Broncos are going to win this game, I mean, they definitely have a reasonable chance to win this game. I think it's probably going to come with if they can run the ball. Like the last thing that I'll be wanting to do is, or find yourself in a situation where maybe you're getting stuffed on first and second down, and all of a sudden it's Bo Nix dropping back like with pure dropbacks against this defense with, face eaters on the defensive line and a tough secondary to throw against. I'm not sure that that's where you want this game to end up. And it's not like, and that's a tough proposition too. Like just go out and run the ball on the Texans. But Broncos do have one of the better rushing games in the league. 10th in they're 8th in EPA per play, 10th in negative rushing rate, the 3rd in explosive rush rate. So this is offensive line has played well. I think their running game has just come together in a nice way. And it's like Houston's good at defending the run, but they're not like unbeatable there. So if Denver can just kind of stay ahead of schedule on some drives, then I think they have a chance to stay afloat. And that's really where I guess we'll get to the other side of the ball, but I guess that's where I'm looking at where most of the offense in this game might come. Denver's ability to run the ball or not run the ball, because if you can get into the red zone against the Texans, they're giving up a touchdown at 70% rate, 31st in the league, but getting there is really difficult for them. Or getting there is really difficult against them, and I think that's where the Broncos are going to have to do it, running the ball, because I just don't see a world where Bo Nix is just going to drop back 100 times versus defense and survive.
Yeah, that's I'll get into that in a sec because I'm right there with you. I think that's the exact way you go about beating this defense, and it's kind of their defensive structure. Anyways, they'll play kind of a quarter shell. I'll get into the zone coverage stuff in a sec, but they rely on being fast, putting a lot of bodies on it. It's the Texans' defense right now is the linear title holder of the Legion of Boom defense. They are the lead. Like if you just go down the DNA and the trees and everything, they're the defense that's most like the Legion of Boom defense in Seattle, as far as not only just like what the defenses they run. I mean, they run a lot of zone, which is kind of the same, but also just like how they're not the biggest defense, but they're feisty and fast, and everyone hits and everyone's at the ball and they throw bodies at you, and they don't blitz a ton, but the pass rush is absurd. And that's I'm right there with you. That's like, okay, how do you beat it? You just got to ugly it up and hit your shot plays and get the chances when you get them, and then just run the ball and can kind of stay out of bad third downs. That's really the formula against any good defense, but really against them. And I was looking it up because Next Gen Stats didn't have the Texans defense with a high pressure rate. True Media, which uses some PFF stuff, it's a little bit higher. I think it's like top 5 pressure rate. But really, I was looking at it and I was like, man, that doesn't feel right, because I watch them and it's a bunch of piranhas. This defense, yeah. Like Will Anderson's an All-Pro if the season ended right now. But with the pass rush right now, so the pressure rate maybe not super high. They have the fastest time to pressure in the NFL, 2.5 seconds. And their pressures aren't cheap either. Remember, I know 2.5 seconds to pressure.
It's crazy.
It's blink and that's it. It's just they put it on the quarterbacks right away, and the pressures aren't cheap. And that's what kind of I watch them because they do some funky stuff on third down, but at least base downs. There's not a lot of the Todd Bowles, even or the Broncos defense where it's like, I don't want to call them cheap, but they get a lot of unblocked looks as well because of how funky they can be. The Texans right now, they only have 10 unblocked pressures this entire year, despite having so many overall pressures, tied for the fewest in the NFL with the Raiders. So when they win, it's them winning. It's not some funkiness. It's not some knuckleball look. It's like, nope, they're just throwing fastballs just over and over. They throw 103 miles an hour, try and hit it. Like, that's what they do to you. And they get a lot of swing and misses from offenses. So when they win, they win. And so it's not just the unblocked, okay, the ball gets out. It's like, no, guy wins. Oh my God, I wasn't expecting that guy to be unblocked. Oh my God, I gotta make a decision. Blah, 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 blah. Mistakes happen from there. So they might not be super high in like knockdowns and sacks, but they are winning just with the rushing 4. They're fast. They play that tight coverage. And I wanted to get into this, and I already hinted at it, is that they run so much zone coverage. They run zone at the 4th highest rate in the NFL. About 4 out of 5 snaps, they're going to be in zone. Most of the time it's cover 3, cover 4, not a ton of cover 2. They'll do some invert stuff, which is cool with Petrie. They're the second lowest success rate allowed out of zone coverage, about 40%. So I was looking Bo Nix against zone, because that's how I would play against Bo Nix. I wouldn't really pressure him, and I wouldn't really run man because it kind of simplifies what he can get to. Sure enough, Bo Nix against cover 3 and cover 4 this year. This is from Next Gen Stats. 6th lowest success rate, 5th lowest completion percentage, 5th lowest yards per attempt, but top 10 explosive pass rate. And that makes a lot of sense when you watch the Broncos offense. The shot plays, the big plays, the stuff down the field, like that is what you have to survive against this offense. And I think the Texans down to down have great answers, natural answers to really just stifle the passing game for the Broncos, which has been kind of hit or miss depending on the week. But man, it's like they have they don't have to really change much of what they do. Don't have to blitz much, can just run the zone coverage and just be feisty, survive the run game, survive the shot plays. And I mean, I think they can have a really good shot of controlling it, even if the Broncos kind of get theirs a little bit. But yeah, this side's going to be a fist fight because I agree with you. I think Sean Payton's thinking the same thing. He's going to get big bodies on the field, and I think he's going to run it at them.
Yeah, it's the best plan. It's not even like I don't even mean really to say this about like to hate on Bo Nix, because I think he's improved over last year and he's had some nice moments, even though I think, there's still some questions he had about the overall like sustainability of him, like long term when you think about paying him. But you don't, as any quarterback, you don't want to get into 3rd and long against this defense. I mean, like you said, 2.5 seconds of pressure. I mean, like, dude, that's getting Lamar Jackson, that's let alone any other quarterback. So that's really a tough proposition. I'm really excited for this specific matchup because the other side, we'll see. We'll see. Might be back to reality for Houston.
Yeah, I know. Injuries on this side is Marvin Mims has a concussion, but really, other than that, I didn't really notice anything else. But the other side, Texans offense versus Broncos defense. Patrick Surtain is hurt, but I think he said he is going to play, if I read that correctly. But my note, and I have my top 2 notes here. So I have PS2 is injured. Number 2, good luck. Yeah. That's all I wrote. It was good luck to this Texas offense. Good luck to one of the worst run games going against the Broncos defense. What do you think about this one? Any threads to pull out here? Because the Broncos defense, all those numbers, sacks, pressures, all that, they are at the top. These are 2 of the best 3 defenses in the NFL, 4 at worst. I mean, I don't know if the Texans will be able to run the ball on them, which is an answer you can go against this Broncos defense. But what did you think about this side of the ball?
Man, I mean, it's not pretty. I mean, because it's not. I mean, I went back through some like the Houston San Francisco game, and honestly, I was like, man, this defense is just too banged up. Like I see while they were going to have some success. Yeah, the 49ers. Yeah, excuse me. The 49ers is a little, not even a little too banged up. A lot of too banged up. Where you look at the situations where have the Houston Texans been able to play well on offense this season? At the Ravens with a decimated defense, they scored 44. Last week against the 49ers, they had a decent game scoring 26. Had a game where they scored 26 against the Titans, which is fake football. So like they aren't really doing much because honestly, I was looking at their schedule. I was like, wait, that Seattle game was 27-19, and I remember at the end they finally got like something going. But for the most part, they got punched in the mouth like they do every single week on every single drive where they can't do anything. And I don't really see how. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they scored 0 points this weekend, because they don't have anything for this defense. They don't have anything for most defenses that they play, right? Okay, so what? Obviously you would love to be able to run the ball, but you can't run the ball, and Denver stops the run really well. And then you're going to get into these third and long situations, and we saw how that went against Seattle. They couldn't do anything for 3.5 quarters until it kind of got a little close at the end when they were doing some desperation stuff. So I don't know. I think this is going to be a bludgeoning. I don't see any answers that they have unless CJ Stroud just goes like Peyton Manning mode and absolutely blacks out and throwing pinpoint passes every play because like that's what it's going to require for them to move the ball. It's just sad like what this Texans offense has become. Like they're nothing. Like they can't run the ball. They don't have a sound play action game. It's not designed well. And I just don't see how they have any success like whatsoever this weekend.
The one little thread I found a thread here. So, okay. All right. The Texans doing jumbo offensive line has been nice, but then it's also like, all right, but if you're in second and longs and third and longs, you're not going to get into jumbo stuff. All right. So take that out. Run game looked okay. I don't think Woody Marks is all that. And I also think that their running back protection is bad, like no matter who's back there. And you're going against this defense that, remember I just said unblocked pressures and all that? Like that's what this defense does. It makes running backs work for it every single snap. All right, that's already all right. Okay, we're already starting off in a bad spot here. Offensive line don't fully trust. Like Eric Surtain is gonna be okay, like and all that. Some guys are playing okay, but it's not good. It's not good. It's bottom 5.
They've been talking up Ed Ingram and how he's played this year. I'm like, what are you guys talking about?
Just it's you gotta see the opponents they're going against. Name a 49ers defensive tackle. That's all I have to say. Like name one. Any neutral fan. Name a 49ers defensive tackle. This is my thread. My golden path, and I'll just keep using Dune because Dune has been on my mind. I'm getting addicted to a Dune board game right now. Broncos run man coverage, second highest rate in the NFL. I would too if I had Patrick Surtain, Riley Moss as my top 2 corners. Mentioned this last week. McMillan, you can get a little bit their third corner, but he's still like good or like above average at the very worst as a slot guy. But it's just relative to Moss and PS2. So, and I was like, oh man, maybe it's a Jalen Noel game. All right. But then Christian Kirk's back and this Texans staff just refuses to play their young guys, even if they're talented. All right. Broncos run man, second highest rate in the NFL. They allow the lowest success rate out of man coverage, 36%. Success rate allowed out of man coverage. That is absolutely absurd. That's basically the worst quarterback. That's Dylan Gabriel right now. Stroud versus man coverage this year. This is a long way to get to this. 6th in success rate against man coverage, 52%. Just behind Josh Allen, just above Sam Darnold. 8 of his 11 touchdowns this year have come against man coverage. The Texans do, if they have anything on offense. Stroud is still good. I will maintain that. He had a couple sprays last week early against the 49ers, but then had also some absolutely brilliant throws. Going against, they have some decent receivers. Nico Collins, if he's coming back, he's going to play this week. I think Jalen Noel's good. Higgins isn't bad. Hutchinson isn't bad. We'll see with Braxton Berrios, Christian Kirk if they get involved. But if PS2's banged up, all right, there's maybe if you want to run all that man coverage, maybe we do target McMillan. This is all at the caveat that they play Jalen Noel, so we'll see. But that was the one little thread I pulled at, is that Stroud, who reads the game pretty well, going against man coverage, makes it even simpler for him, gets the ball out, because then he just goes, oh, it's man, I can just get the ball out. I don't have to extend it. I don't have to worry about my offensive line. Just one thing that they maybe can have for this Texas offense, because I agree with you. I think it's going to be a lot like that Seahawks game, where there's going to be some frustrating moments with like one blip of good stuff and then frustrating moments, frustrating series, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. Okay, one good drive, 3 and out, 3 out, 3 and out. Like that's kind of how I feel it's going to go. But if their defense can create some chances, they just have to be good in the red zone and good on third down a couple times. Like that's the thing, is like this, both sides of the ball, because they're going against 2 awesome defenses, is all right, you got your 5 to 6 chances, got to hit them. I know that sounds simple, but that's kind of just how this game is going to make out. That's why the spread is, or the point total is under 40.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried just about the Caley versus Vance Joseph matchup too. Because like like because I do think that's a like that like the,
why
if you're gonna
why,
pull, like,
why are you worried about that?
like if you're gonna pull any thread, like that makes sense. But then like I'm watching the Texans offense, it's like not only are the players bad, but this offense, like it's so unsound. Like you got play calls going the wrong way. Like the protection doesn't work sometimes. Like they're running into situations where they got like 2 blockers versus 4 defenders. I'm like, what are you guys doing, man? So and to me, it's problems that professional teams shouldn't be having. Like if you're a high school team and we can't count the box right, okay, whatever. Kids got biology homework to do after they probably a little stressed about going to prom with someone else. That's fine. But this is your job, and I think it's confusing that they're as disorganized as they are.
That's the thing about the run game. It's like it's not only poorly blocked and the running backs aren't all that. It's also just like they run stuff into loaded boxes where there were a number. I mean, the Seahawks game was the epitome of that. Just watch their short yardage sequence on 3rd and 1, 4th and 1. Just they ran 2 runs and 2 literally unblockable. Like I paused it to go, oh, who messed up here? And I like was drawing it up, like being a little nerd. I'm like drawing it up, and I'm like, you can't block
There's
this.
no one.
Like this.
You can't block it.
You literally can't block it. If you want to run this run, you can't block it. There's going to be, I think the 4th and 1 had 2 guys that you couldn't block. They were down 2 number count, which is just one is something. Okay, that happens in the run game, but 2 in a short yardage situation is just
4th and 1. How is that even possible? How is that possible? I don't know. Whatever.
And especially in short yardage. Yeah. All right. Final predictions. Texans are a 1.5 favorite. Who are you going with?
I'm going with the Broncos for similar reasons why I picked them against the Cowboys last week. Like if you're just looking at units, I think the Broncos offense, Broncos offense has a better chance of success against the Texans defense than the Houston defense does against Denver to me. So I think it's gonna be low scoring regardless. Like you said, it's gonna come down to a few high leverage plays, but I trust this version of the Broncos over that version of the Texans.
It's, I mean, the 4-unit theory. I mean, there's something to it, and also like, all right, is there a special teams difference between the teams? Not really. Broncos are 18th in DVOA, and the Texans are 11th in DVOA, so it's kind of fairly comparable. And even if you look at percentages, I'm with you. I go with the Broncos as well. Do think it's a tight game, ugly rock fight. 20-17 type game, 17-13 type game, 21-17, very tight game. Comes down to those couple leverage plays, like you said. So I'm right there with you. I think it's going to be a beautifully ugly game. I think it's going to be some really good ball, but not a lot of points. So I think there's some good coaching going on. There's some good players. They just all happen to be on defense in this game, I think is a good way to put it.